All right. So let's move on over to some other big news. And this was kind of manufactured news, right? I don't know about you guys, but I kept getting all these DMs and seeing all these messages on the board talking about, hey, will Michigan recruit another quarterback in 24? And I was scratching my head. I was like, what are you talking? Well, Cutter Boley's reclassifying to 24, and what about recruit maybe, and what about recruiting him there? And there are reports out that Michigan's recruiting him in 24, and I was like, man, just didn't make sense to me that would be the case. But I checked on it, and with multiple sources, including the Davises, Brice, and quickly found out that there was nothing to it whatsoever.
So, top 247 quarterback, the 2025 class right now, Cutter Boley, has been a long-time target for Michigan, guy from Lexington, Kentucky, a guy that Kirk Campbell had recently seen. He plans on going back up to the school again. And this is a guy that Michigan really likes. He's been up to campus, I want to say, about 4 or 5 times. He's got a great relationship with several guys like Boo Carter, Marion Stewart, several guys. So he's very familiar with Michigan, the guys they recruit, and everything about the program. That being said, Michigan does have a certain 5-star quarterback coming in the fold. And the thing I first got the same thing, Sam, of DMs flooding of, what do you think about a 2 quarterback class? And I was like, wow. I'm like, this cycle, are you talking about the last one with Alex Orji and Jane Denna? I was like, what are we talking about here? And they're like, well, there's speculation, rumors of him reclassifying. And how do you think Jane would take that? First off, I personally feel like Jane wouldn't care. That's just they're not worried about Brice Underwood for next cycle. Let's say if he were to come to Michigan. So I don't think he would care if Cutter Boley were to come here, but I don't think that's going to happen. And people who I've talked to, they didn't get that vibe either. Basically what I was told point blank was, if he does reclassify Cutter Boley to the 2024 class, Michigan will end pursuit of him, point blank. That's what I was told.
Yeah, Steve, that's pretty consistent. It's one thing to have a 5-star quarterback come in the class after you, but the same class, that gets to be a little bit different. And that's why Kirk Campbell was very proactive in killing this rumor before it even picked up steam.
Yeah, let's talk about like the worst idea in the world. We're recording every week about a new commitment Michigan's adding. Let's alienate the top player in our class by recruiting another player at his position in the class, and doing it without him knowing that they're doing it. All the while, you're gaining momentum with the number 1 quarterback in the 2025 class, a player that Davis's family has specifically said they would want him to commit to Michigan eventually. Let's just blow all of that up and ruin all that momentum that we just got done talking about that Michigan has had by doing this. Yeah, really dumb. Cutter Boley, I believe he's a little bit older for his class, which I think is one of the reasons why he's looking at reclassifying. So from his standpoint, it makes total sense. And I can see Kentucky, Penn State. I think there are a few other schools that are sniffing around, or at least would like him to maybe move up a class so that they could take him in the 24 cycle. But from Michigan's standpoint, yeah, got to be disappointing for the staff to have to reach out to their star commitment to say, hey, like, not sure why this is a thing, but we're not recruiting another quarterback in your class. Like, because you got to think they probably told Jadyn Davis throughout his recruitment, hey, you're our guy. You're going to be the only guy for us. Like, and then to have to come back a month and a half later after he commits and tell him like, hey, by the way, you really are the guy still. I don't know where that's coming from. Got to be annoying. But like you said, Sam, looks good for Kirk Campbell, though, to nip it in the bud before it really even gets going at all. Really probably endears him even more to the Davis family. You remember they liked Matt Weiss. The question was, what can Kurt Campbell do? He obviously did enough to get Davis to commit, but doing things like that can really even help strengthen those bonds. So, whatever.
On fire, Steve. That's great commentary, and it totally encapsulates, I think, what Kurt Campbell's his reaction probably was, because I talked to Jeremiah Davis, Jadyn Davis's dad, about all of this, and he said, I'll give you the quote. He said, Kurt Campbell called and said, Jeremiah, this report is out there. I just want to let you know it's not true. Yes, I've been talking to the Cutter kid, but for 25. The thing I want to make sure you understand is that Jadyn is the only quarterback we're taking in this class, period. And then Jeremiah went on to say, I hadn't even seen the report yet. And that's the point, right? Yeah, I mean, look, you have to fend off negative recruiting anyway. Typically, you expect it to be other schools and not, having to refute false reports. But it all falls under the same umbrella, right? You got to keep guarding your yard against things that might affect your recruits, your commits, your recruiting class. And so this is just another sign that they got a heck of a recruiter in Kurt Campbell on the job. And this is not being afraid of competition. It's a great point to raise again, Steve, that the Davises are very much on board with. They mentioned Brice Underwood specifically, but if Cutter Boley was 25, I think they would be willing to participate in that recruitment too. So this is not a dude that shies away from competition, but this is different, because it's a great point. Another great point you made, Steve. Even if he is the most competitive guy in the world and has no issue with another quarterback coming in the class with him, the fact that this would be an instance of Michigan trying to snake him, trying to do something undercover, do something behind the scenes that was different from what they told them, then it becomes a trust thing.
Yep.
Right? And so
going back on your word. Yeah,
you're going back on your word. You're sneaking around. Why would we trust you to come there if you do that, even if we are a big time competitor? So you see why Kurt Campbell was so proactive with this. Like, man, I can't have these guys thinking I'm being dishonest with them. And so great job on his part. Obviously, you wish you didn't have to do it, but that's recruiting these days, right? You got to fend off enemies in all directions. And this was just another one of those instances